Go live. Get the facts of Folan, baby. Guys, episode 2. This episode taking you to Shanghai, China. Another massive metropolitan area in the great country of China. Let me invite my friend Sharon. Fingers crossed. Because VPN can be a mess sometimes. Let's see. Ruh-roh. Let's see. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Bear with me here. Learning curve on this stuff, huh? Alright. Sorry, homies. How the heck did I... Sorry, 1 second, guys. Come on. Instagram is being really weird today. There we go. It shows that she's joined. How the heck can I invite you? There we go. Here it goes. Go live. Yes, it worked. Wow, that was tough. My goodness, I am so sorry. Jeez. But you look great. You're not blurry. Second time in China today. Excited to have you guys. For those of you who are joining us, this is episode 2 of the new show, Get the Facts with Folan. How great is that? So on this tour, we're taking on a virtual world tour since all of you need to stay at home and not go outside to fight this virus. So,
Right.
Sharon, introduce yourself. Where are you right now?
I'm Sharon. I'm currently in Shanghai, China.
And so you've lived there. You've been living there for quite a while, right?
Yeah, 20 years.
Jeez. And you're originally from?
Vancouver, Canada. Well, okay.
Yes.
Born in the Philippines, and then
Right.
Vancouver, Canada, and then lived in the States, and then China.
So you've bounced around quite a bit. Quite a global citizen, if you ask me. And so we met when I was in Shanghai earlier this year. Wow, what a time that was, huh? Couldn't have timed that any better. And yeah, luckily through couch surfing, had an epic day exploring together. Sharon's probably one of the biggest foodies in Shanghai, so it's going to be fun to dive into that. But yeah, all right. So I sent you some questions. Let's dive into it right now. So it's interesting. In the media, it's showing that China has recovered. China has beaten the virus. I mean, what's it like in Shanghai now?
Okay, so Shanghai with 21 million people, it says only close to 400 are affected.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe, okay, so when it was at its peak, I was actually in Spain.
Yeah, that's right. You left the country. That's
right.
right.
I was in Spain for 3 weeks, and I
Yeah.
was reading the news, and people were in lockdown. I'm like, oh my gosh! And actually, I delayed my flight, and I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks, and then stayed an extra week.
Okay.
So I came back. Sorry, I have got animals, and
That's all right.
But I came back February 13th, and it was a ghost town.
Yeah.
Everything was closed except grocery stores, a handful of restaurants, banks, I believe, just really the essentials.
Okay.
So when I arrived the first week, it was cold. Nobody was around. It was a ghost town.
Yeah. Was it a was this a government lockdown, or was this just citizens freaking out and deciding to go home on their own?
I think a little bit of both, but because all schools were closed, all offices were closed, so there's really nowhere to go. But
right.
There's a lot of fear. So was it a government mandated? No, because I was going out.
Right. Interesting. Because
I felt safe because, I came from Spain. I know I don't have the virus, and I was going out. The subway was empty.
Weird.
If I was in the few handful of restaurants that are open, like there'd be 2 tables. So I felt safe.
Yeah.
And like I would ask my friends, and they don't want to go out.
Right. No, and I tell you what, that seems to be the trend around the world right now. Well, the United
Which
States, right? I mean, currently I'm in Singapore, but United States, they're shutting down everything. I mean, restaurants are being closed, bars. Singapore, now this is a huge deal. Tonight, they just announced all bars are closed, which is insane. I mean, we only have 200 cases here, but the fact that they're banning flights to even transit through Singapore and now closing bars and now enforcing the social distancing. It's Singapore saying. I mean, they've taken it very serious since they were the
right.
second most of cases in the world, but now it's like they're really bringing down the iron fist to make sure that it doesn't become more of a problem here.
And that's what it takes to like there's nowhere to go, so you just stay home.
Yeah, yeah,
However, like I would say 2 weeks ago, I took the subway and it was full and I got scared. So actually I
interesting.
kind of I I don't have to go to work because the schools are still closed. So
Yeah,
but actually my activity went down because I'm scared because there's more people on the streets.
and why
So
like what changed? What changed to have more people go back outside?
well, it's been 2.5 months.
Yeah. Okay.
And our numbers has been really low, so they kind of slowed. Like at first only a handful of things are open, like maybe a work was 50% of the staff would come and 50% would stay home, and they would switch, I
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
And then slowly every week, and they would just see the numbers. If it was stabilized, they would open another thing.
Gotcha.
And then so things opened up gradually.
Okay.
However, now I believe I'm gonna say only this. It seems like it's busy, and it seems like only the schools are closed. So all
Okay.
schools are closed.
And have
Okay,
they
so
have
I need
have they
to
put
add
a
some.
date back?
I need to
Like
add something.
yeah,
So
yeah.
now the whole world is affected by the COVID,
Right.
and China seemed to numbers have dropped. So all the expats are returning back. So for the longest time, Shanghai, we had 3 cases. We had for 2 consecutive days 0 cases.
Yeah.
Sunday, we had 64 cases, but they're all imported.
No way. Interesting.
Way,
And so is
way.
China enforcing a self quarantine or a government enforced quarantine for these expats coming in?
It is quite strict. So everybody, whoever arrives in China must have COVID test.
Yeah.
So they're
Wow.
picked up from the airport. They they are brought to the facility
Yeah.
where they get tested, and they have to wait. So now there's a backlog. So people are waiting 2 days.
So
So
where do they keep them? I mean, this is a government hospital, a government facility. Like, where are they keeping these people as they wait?
in a hotel,
They
in a
okay.
facility, yeah, and everything is free. FREE. Can you imagine that? Everybody's being tested. They don't have to pay.
That's how it should be. I mean, if we're gonna knock this out, personally, I think that's the only way we're gonna. I mean, in the United States, it's what 40, $50 to get tested. Why would someone, especially teens, 20s, even young 30s, why would they pay to get tested if they know that the symptoms aren't going to be that bad for them? So I think that's going
Right.
to be the biggest way to knock it out for sure.
Right. So everybody's given this Shanghai QR code. So it's either green, which is you're free to go anywhere.
Uh-huh.
There's yellow. I don't know what it means, but and red. So yellow and red, you can't go in any public places.
Okay.
So you arrive, and depending on your last place where you were, you can either be home quarantined for 14 days or quarantine in a facility.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Dang. Okay. Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy. And see, it's like very similar to Singapore. All these cases are being imported right now. Like 80% of their cases have been imported into the country, and that's why they've decided to close the borders. So,
I see.
man.
Well, all the expats I think are returning, but Singapore was never hit hard.
Well, after Chinese New Year, after Lunar New Year, we had the second most cases in the world. But since
Oh,
then, our numbers have stayed quite steady, and so United States, the numbers are picking up
right.
insane rates, right? Because people are finally getting tested. But Italy as well. So it's yeah, I mean, compared to the rest of the world, there's quite a few, but for a country that's only, you know, a quarter of the size of Shanghai, it's you know, they're keeping it quite serious here, just to make
Right,
sure it
right,
doesn't get bigger than it needs to be. All right,
right.
so we got COVID-19 out of the way. Well, so essentially, you were gone for most of it. You were one of the lucky people that, I mean, for 3 weeks of the, well, I guess it
Yeah.
was only 3 weeks of the 2 months. I mean, what'd you do for fun? I mean, were you basically locked up in your apartment? What'd you do for fun during the
I
quarantine?
still went out. Like I went to restaurants. Luckily, I had good
Sharon.
friends that I
Well,
went
I
to
tell you what,
restaurants with.
I mean, with the foodie connection you have, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Were you one of the only diners in these restaurants? I mean, was it a ghost town
The
in those
first
as
two
well?
weeks, yeah, the first 2 weeks, there's just probably 2 to 3 tables at a
Yeah,
restaurant, and you know, I'm just there to support my friends.
yeah, yeah. Were they all hit pretty hard? What was takeout pushed as hard as it's been around the world, or is just like people were starting to cook at home?
Um, so here we have delivery. So yes,
Okay,
takeout is still they survive with takeout, but still the numbers were quite down.
okay, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting. This is so crazy. Well, I'm glad you
yeah,
guys are on the path to recovery. It's, you know,
yeah.
it,
I
it,
think
it
so.
should give the rest of the world some
Yeah,
hope just because
yeah.
it's madness everywhere else. Let's
Right.
jump into the fun stuff. Let's talk travel,
Sure.
huh?
Yeah.
Let's take these viewers on a virtual trip in Shanghai. So, in your opinion, what are the three must-dos in Shanghai?
Okay, you have to go to the Bund, of course. So that's the
Yes.
old, beautiful architecture and the view of Pudong. And
Yep.
you have to go to Yuyuan because you have to have the tradition,
Yep.
Chinese architecture. And you have to go to Pudong Financial District to see the skyscraper and the big, shiny steel buildings.
It's the
So those are the,
second tallest building in the world, correct? Only behind the Bergen.
right,
I'm pretty
right.
sure it's
Don't
second
ask me
tallest.
numbers because I don't know.
That's okay. I'm the numbers guy. That's all right. I don't know how tall it is, but I know it's the second tallest in the world. But the Bund, I would say, if they travel to Shanghai, you have to see it in the day, but also at night. It
Yes.
was it's beautiful gold. Like, oh, it's so nice. Like, I'm so glad I was able to see it both, you know, both day and night, because it's totally different both
And
times.
after your visit, because we kind of looked where the best view of the Bund is, I think
Yeah,
I know. I
you
think I
found it.
know where it is. I found it. I found
Where is
it.
it? Are we going to share, or is this going to be the best kept secret?
Actually, one of the best views, like the one that we got kicked out, or we had
Yeah,
to pay whatever amount. But that's Shanghai, though, right? You're at the Buns.
true.
You just
Yes,
have to pay. So,
exactly. Worth it.
yeah. And there's a few places. Yeah, you have to
If
come
it's
visit. You have to.
worth it, if it's not a cloudy night. That was the only thing. It was going to be iffy. Luckily, it worked out nicely. But the thing that we learned was it's the Pearl, right? The famous Pearl is, like, you know, one of the big skyscrapers. It doesn't run all night because we thought it would light up right when the sun set.
Right.
That was
Seven
false. You
thirty.
only 7:30. Doesn't matter when the sun sets. 7:30, and they're going to run it for 3 hours, right? If that 2.5 hours.
Right.
I think 10 o'clock. Boom.
10 o'clock. That's it.
Yeah,
Boom.
it
It's
is.
out.
It is. Which I thought it was just so strange because the dinner we went to, right? We all went out quite late, and I remember when we started dinner, I was like, "Oh my gosh, the skyline's so amazing! Like, oh, I'll take photos after. I'll go walk the Bund." Now we walk out of the restaurant, and the whole skyline's practically off. I couldn't, and it's just that was one of the things about Shanghai that I found very interesting. That, you know, they stick to those deadlines. You know, controlling
Right.
the electricity. So
Right.
very
Right.
very interesting. Okay, what about food? You're quite a foodie. What's the food scene like in Shanghai?
I'm sorry. What? What?
The food scene. I mean, you of anybody that I know, you're probably one of the biggest foodies that I know. What are the must, like, any specific type of foods that are specific for Shanghai, or just your favorite like if you could only eat one dish for the rest of your life from a restaurant in Shanghai, what would you pick?
Well, I'm glad I live in Shanghai because anything and everything is available,
Yes.
basically. So if you want cheap eats, I know where to go. If you want shishi restaurant with a bun view, I know where to go.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So it's for me, it's very difficult to say what my favorite is, but it just depends on what dish, what you're looking for. Because just sky's the limit in Shanghai. That's what I love the city.
Is there what was the famous local dish that we tried when we went to the oh
Xiaolongbao.
dang it, come on VPN. You still there, Sharon?
Yeah, I'm still here. It was Xiaolongbao, and that place I took you was meh. Sorry. There was
I
another place.
wasn't gonna say that.
I think time was of essence, and we were around, so we just went there. But
But what is
if we
Shangbao?
had time.
It's what is the dish? What is it exactly?
So it's like there's meat inside and wrapped up in a sheet of white. What would you call that?
Dough almost, right? I mean, it's almost like a dumpling,
and it's
isn't it?
steamed and it's just delicious.
Yeah,
But you gotta like do it and wait until it's cooled down, otherwise you'll burn your tongue.
Yes, which I quickly learned after the first bite.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so you've been here for 20 years. I'm going to consider you a local because it technically is your new hometown. What are some of your favorite, like, what's one thing that surprised you when you moved to China? Like, what's one?
Okay, so that was 20 years ago. That was a long time ago. Shanghai has changed 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, it was so difficult to find bacon.
Oh, really?
Butter. But now, forget about it. You get everything and anything is available in China. So, I've always invited my brother to come. He's from Canada, and he says he will never set foot here because he thinks it's backwards. It is not. Like, you've been to Shanghai. It is a fast-paced city, skyscrapers. It's not backwards at all.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And if you love shopping, Shanghai is the place to go. Any brand name you want is there, and probably multiple locations. Right. That's what surprised me the most.
Right.
Yeah. Super. I mean, I would. It's a very Western city. I mean, compared to the rest of China, I would say even more so than Beijing. Like, Shanghai is the place for shoppers, in my opinion. I mean, still other stuff to do, but there are people that just travel to shop, and I think they'd be very, very happy going through Shanghai.
Nice.
So,
you can find genuine stuff, and you can still find someone in the corner asking, "Hey, Rolex, Rolex." I don't know if you got that when you were here. Louis Vuitton, Rolex.
Whatever price you want to pay, you can find that price point in Shanghai. That's for sure.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So then, what's been your favorite thing about living in Shanghai? What's kept you there so long? Besides work, right?
What's my favorite? What I love about Shanghai?
What's been your favorite aspect about, like, what's kept you in Shanghai? What have you enjoyed the most about living there?
The people, what's available. I mean, like I said, like the restaurants. I love the traffic. Safety. It's so safe. I can walk around 2 o'clock in the morning and I feel safe. There's a lot of expats here, and it's really very easy to meet friends.
Yeah.
Among the expat community, everybody's open, and you just meet them one night, and you're best friends the next day.
That's neat.
With that being said, the problem is with expat, they're only here for 4 years. So I've been here 20 years, so it's like a cycle. I would meet friends
and 5 waves.
Develop good friendship, and then a few years later they leave. So it's a cycle. It was sad, but now I understand. Hey, man, I've got friends all around the world.
Yeah. I mean, what a good problem to have. Now it's just your list is going to be too long. The places you need to go visit these friends. So that's pretty neat.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay. One more question for you. What's one thing about Shanghai that you think would surprise people?
I think just technology. It's fast-paced, and everything's available.
Right.
And it's quite easy. I don't know. Transportation, it's easy.
Yeah. They have one of the best metro systems in the world. I mean, you can get to the airport. Not many cities or countries gives you the opportunity to go to the airport for just a couple dollars. That's amazing.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. One other thing, crazy food. When we were walking around the water town, there was some crazy stuff there, right? Some crazy stuff.
Right.
What's the craziest thing you've eaten while you've been in China the last 20 years?
Um, it might not be crazy for some people, but frog. I don't know. I didn't take. Did I take you for hot pot?
We didn't go together, but I did have hot pot. Yes, I
So
did
hot
have
pot,
hot pot while I was there.
you can order frog, and it's still like it's a frog. So
Yeah.
that kind of freaks me out. But my kids eat it. All right.
It taste like chicken?
It does taste like chicken. Yeah. After getting over like it's a frog, oh, it tastes like chicken.
One thing, maybe I'll have to do a live video doing this. The thing that I will always be iffy on trying on is that stinky tofu. That smell has not left my nostrils since I smelled it. I mean,
It's called, okay, in Chinese, it's called zhou tofu. It's stinky tofu. It really stinks.
yes. Yeah, and that's putting it nicely. It is horrible. Like, you can smell it from a few blocks away.
I haven't eaten shit, but I think it's equivalent to eating shit.
Yeah, I would agree.
We did try in a nice restaurant just to see, but that's the closest it came from our mouth.
Does it? So you didn't taste it. So it doesn't taste like. So it's not like durian, where durian stinks, but at least it tastes a little bit better than it smells.
I just couldn't bear it. It just stunk.
Okay. Yeah.
No. Stinky tofu, stay away from it.
Yeah. So guys, stinky tofu, not tofu, specifically stinky tofu.
Stinky tofu. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Golly, guys, Shanghai, highly recommend checking it out. This city is so neat, and I would say it's a very good place to get introduced to the Chinese culture, right? I mean, it's not too much in your face. It's still very Western, like you said. Like, there are a surprising amount of people that speak English because of the expat community, which helps. So yeah, if any of you guys watching, see if your country does the visa-free visit, the visa on arrival, which will get you up to 144 hours, so like 5 days, which is pretty awesome. That would be plenty of time in Shanghai. How many days would you recommend if someone were to visit Shanghai?
About 4 days. 4 days is good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sharon, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It is quite late. It's it's after 10 o'clock. Well, I don't even know. What, 10:30 now? 10:30 p.m. here in Asia. Any final words of advice for everyone around the world?
Really flatten the curve. Stay home, please. Stay home.
Couldn't agree more. The longer we stay at home, hopefully not too long, flatten that curve, the quicker we get everything back to normal. Sharon, thank you so much. It was so good seeing you as always. And thanks so much for an amazing time in Shanghai. No, you really made my time special there. So appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. Guys, whoever's watching, tomorrow morning, my time, so tomorrow evening in the United States, we're going to hear from my buddy Henry, who's in Manila, Philippines, which is currently on a lockdown as well. So we'll give you insight on things to do, crazy foods to eat in the Philippines, as well as Henry's perspective on what it's like there right now, because that is another crazy spot. And then in 24 hours, we're going to be hearing from one of my good friends, Asia, who is in Italy. So lots of exciting episodes coming up, all truly live. Be sure to always ask questions below. Again, Sharon, can't thank you enough. You take care, and let's hope everything gets back to normal. Guys, wash your hands, and we'll see you next episode.
再见。
Bye-bye.